You touched on meditation a little bit. How important is that, you think, just for the average person to do? And again, most people say, I don't have time, but doesn't even a little bit of that go a long way if you can incorporate it into your schedule?
I would say several ways to answer that. One, my first response is we all meditate. So many people have such a negative reaction to the word meditate. Oh my God, I'm going to join a cult, I'm going to shave my head. Meditation is just a different level of concentration. It's meditating, it's focusing on one specific thing. There's several domains or classifications of meditation, but we all meditate. You know, if you're an athlete and if you're running and you're not listening to your Walkman or listening to the news, or if you're at the gym and you're not focusing on TV, if you're really with what you're doing yoga, you're yoking your mind, your body, your breath, that's a form of meditation. If you're really engaged with whatever you're doing at the moment and you're not dissociating other places, you are meditating. It's a form of intense concentration. So I like to tell people we all meditate. Now, what we want to do with meditation is not the efforting, not the force. When we do this meditation, whatever it is, and we can bring our mind back to something, that has a benefit on our nervous system. It brings more balance to the nervous system, and I do believe it will help us heal. So I think it's important for all of us to recognize we're doing it. It's not something strange, and we need to practice it more, to cultivate it. There's no multitasking. We talk about multitasking. What we're doing is neurologically switching from one thing to the next, to the next, to the next at lightning speed that we can't even keep up. And all the evidence, I think I say all, a majority of the evidence shows that every time you get distracted and do another task, it takes you longer to complete all of them. So even meditating on what I'm doing, I'm going to focus on this, I'm focusing on this, it's a huge task. It decreases the stress response because we can become focused. We're training our kids, we're training ourselves to constantly be distracted. And I think that, you know, I've heard for years, even in the 60s, people were saying unplug, right? You know, we need to learn to unplug. When do we have downtime? So, yes, people do have time for meditation. It could be in bed before they go to sleep. Not my favorite. And the reason it's not my favorite is while that can help some people fall asleep, that's not the goal of meditation. The goal of meditation is to be present to the object, to learn concentration, to be present to it and sustain that attention and practice it so you get the benefit of that. If you use it to fall asleep, you're not going to really learn that meditation. Some days are going to be harder, but and some will be easier. But when you learn to do it, you stay with it. Oh, today my mind's wandering. One of the things I say to students all the time, people have heard me say this over and over again, the difference between a novice and an experienced meditator is they both can sit down for 10 minutes. They both say, I'm going to focus on my breath, each breath. The novice says, I only focus on my breath for 30 seconds in that whole 10 minutes. And the experienced meditator says, I focused on my breath for 30 seconds in that 10 minutes. And that speaks to everything. And we want to program ourselves. I don't want to say program. We want to learn. And I'm saying wanting. I'm correcting myself. When we are that way, our lives will be different. That's what I'll say emphatically.